Good morning and welcome back to our channel. This video is going to be about the nodes pertaining to your past and your future. The nodes just moved into new houses. North node moved into Pisces, 7th house today under Ravati Nakshatra. And the south node moved into Virgo. First house, 24 degrees, 15 seconds, Chitra Nakshatra. So it's a good time to kind of look this over. I'm sure in the past few weeks, you've all been getting messages of like new things to come, the past, completing a cycle, what you have overcome and accomplished in your life, where you're going, and you probably want some information on that, right? Okay. So, well, we've got North Node in Pisces. This is talking about your future, 7th house. You're developing in your future from here on, in the next 18 months pertain. You're going to have this draw to develop more deeper spiritual connections in your relationships, your partnerships, meaning like friends, and relations means everybody you work with or talk to or enjoy company with, and collaborations, working together with people on different prosperous endeavors. Okay, the North Node in Pisces, 7th house under Ravati Nakshatra, focuses on your fertility, rapid growth, your abundance, and shelter or home. Like, these are all things that you're moving into. You have the power of nourishment with Kshira Dhyapani Shakti Namo. That is the chant to Ravati's Nakshatra Shakti power. So if you don't really care about that, offerings of milk to like the land, like if you give a plant outside your home a small shot glass of milk in the morning or once a week, this will help nourish your life. And this is all developing towards your future. We're going to pull some cards on this too, but I want to give the explanations before we do this. So this is your future, North Node. This is where you're heading in the next 18 months. What you have been developing in the past 18 months is now the South Node in Virgo is telling you that you have a strong connection to practical, detailed, and analytical aspects of yourself. So you really dove deep within yourself. You probably found more realizations over the past 18 months than you have in your whole life. And you've really wrapped up a cycle within your true inner self. This information under Chitra Nakshatra, again, is emphasizing the deep spiritual depth you have found within yourself. The sudden inspirations that you have went through the last 18 months. They've helped you realize your true self and develop deep exploration of your soul. So you have a soul understanding of who you are, where you used to have have a very egoic understanding of who you are based on your material things, how you appear, your looks, your possessions, your clothes, your cars, your trinkets, your status, your reputation, have all been tested the last 18 months. And while they were tested, it wasn't so much, you just shed layers, right? Shedding layers is like putting on every outfit you have in your closet, and you go out only to find out it's a very hot day. And at first you start by peeling off one layer. You're like, I really didn't need that. Wow. And as you keep going, the more steam that comes inside of you, You take off different layers and layers and layers till you strip down to yourself and you're like, you know what? This is all I truly need. Your soul self. Removed all the layers of clothing. So, let's pull some cards on your future. This is going to be Pisces energy, which can be very intuitive. Pisces represents an end of a cycle, like an end of a long journey, right? They're at the end, so they're very understanding. The only other sign besides Cancer that represents the High Priestess would be Pisces. Very intuitive, full of knowledge, diving deep into their emotions, able to swim in the oceans and understand life on deeper meanings. Over the past 18 months, you've probably found spiritual connections and friendships, relationship, and work ethic, work partners. So let's pull some cards on this and talk about your future, the next 18 months to come. On all these things, what do we have for North Node and Pisces for our viewers? Things that deal upon your fertility, rapid growth, abundance, and your home life. Nourishment. Right now off the bat, we got 6 of Cups representing feeling blessed, rekindling youth, and working with a clear conscience. Wheel of Fortune, a lot of good things are moving in your forward direction. Having a clear conscience opens up the realm of manifestation because you're not second guessing what you truly want, right? And when you're not second guessing, there's not really a stress or a hyper fixation on what you want. So when you're trying to achieve things, you end up spoiling it by hyper fixating on what you want, right? So I always used to tell people, it's like if you were to roll a giant snowball up a hill, and now it's big and ready and it's full, it's ready to go down, right? And then you go and roll it over the top of the other side of the hill, but you keep stopping it. Oh wait, let me add to this, This is because you've got too much question about what you're wanting. Right now, you're clear and free, let that ball roll, forget about it. If you've ever studied witchcraft, sigil magic is the process of writing a word that you want to bring into your life, creating a sigil out of it using the number square, the witch's square, the sigil square. And then you take that sigil you create and you put it in a box somewhere really high in your home and try to forget about it. You do everything to try to get it out of your mind. Like basically after you make a sigil that you're trying to bring into your life, you get right into physical work, things that keep your mind occupied with the hands. Because if you're not working with your hands, the mind is constantly rolling. So these 2 cards indicate that you have cleared your mind and you're allowing the manifestations to roll forward. Set it, forget it, let it roll. Okay, in this time, you gotta pause for a moment. Pause while you watch things grow. So, have any of you, I know I have any of you been getting the messages, sit back, stop. You're doing too much, you're gonna ruin what I have coming for you. That's what this card represents. Take a break, look at what's working, look at how it's growing, reevaluate how you see things coming in, and receiving rewards. So during this time of setting back, watch, you're going to see things come into fruition, but you must take a pause and a sit back for that to come. With a clear conscience, this should be really easy to do. Okay, Ace of Swords. That couldn't be no more true than it was. So this is a very clarifying card right here. Clear conscious, good things coming, time for you to kick back and just watch them grow, right? Ace of Swords, the direct truth, cutting through all confusion. So if you had any confusion left in your mind of, am I supposed to do something? Spirit's telling you no, just take the advice. How much more clarification do you need? Rest, recuperate, meditate, find your peace, and retreat. Four of Swords. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Whoop. The more you rest, the faster things come in. Lots of movement, travel, passionate endeavors, things that really spark your inspiration, right? So have you ever tried to make yourself bored? Right? You just sit and you just say, I'm not gonna fucking do anything, right? And then once you finally cleared your mind, relaxed your energy, calmed your soul, the greatest epiphany comes to you and you get right to it. You start creating like you wouldn't believe, because you finally allowed your soul to talk and show you what was going on. Talking about the home here, Queen of Pentacles. Homemaker, very crafty, very fruitful and abundant. Bottom of the deck, Ten of Pentacles. So appreciating what you've got, knowing that good things come with patience, time and care and effort. You're open and welcoming for new things to come in because you have a very solid, stable foundation. Something about that keeps triggering the collective. Why does having a solid foundation trigger anxiety? Nine of Swords. This is something you really need to focus on, like just allow it. We'll get into that when we do the 444 for your South Node, the past. Something lingering from the past 18 months might be keeping you awake at night, making it hard to sleep. This is probably why in this reading so far, there is so much emphasis on just setting, just being, allowing your conscious to clear. Getting through the confusion and seeing the truth while things grow. You're afraid of being broke. You're afraid of losing it all over again. This is a fear while you're still in the flux. Remind you, North Node just moved into Pisces. Things are just starting to show for your future. Find out where the lack mentality living inside of you still resides and where it stems from. It's not so much to dwell on your insecurities, it's to find the source. When in your childhood were you told that you weren't worthy of what's coming? Five of Swords. You may have survived humiliation in the past. This could be a big thing in your life. You might have, like a leopard. These are lepers walking through the city, right? And back in those times, lepers were just really looked down upon, humiliated in public. They were a disgrace. But your salvation is you're right in front of the church. And 5 represents a change. So there's a change that you need to understand about your fear and anxiety here. 9 of Swords. It comes from lack mentality. Oh. The angels are going to help you with this. This card I like to call the paradox card. It doesn't have to make sense for it to be true. And if you understand that, you know I'm talking about like fourth dimensional beings, the fifth dimensional, spirit, connection. These things talk in ways that don't really have facts, but they're filtering your life for clarity. So tap into whatever you believe in to be a higher power and trust the information that comes through. They're working together, like as if I were to take these two bottles, right? And just keep mixing them back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with new waters and cleansing until this was as pure as this. That is what's going on in the background, because your higher power, your angels, your higher self, or the God within your mind, ancestors, whatever you believe, right? They see your fear of lack mentality. You're very afraid of being poor. So they're going to be working with you on this because this seems to be a reoccurring theme in your life. This has been long over. Ten of Swords is thoughts that have been long over. At your wit's end, ego death, you finally just said, fuck it, I'm done, right? You let it pass. You're overcome this in the past. But in reverse, it represents that it keeps triggering in your unconscious mind. So connect to your higher angels. Trust what's coming in, because we see lots of anxiety about you being the keeper of your own home. Living in a very calm, comfortable, nurturing, plenty of food, plenty to drink, plenty to eat, comfort, security, peace. Pentacles also mean peace. It's funny, this kind of brings up a dream I had. I had a dream that me and my father were driving around doing errands, and I saw a piece of property that was kind of just left, It was on the market, but nobody really wanted it. So I bought it, or I don't know, in the dream I didn't really see myself, but I ended up owning it somehow. You know how dreams are. And as soon as I was in the home, cleaning it up, I'm like, my God, who the fuck has been tearing this house to shreds? There was just shit everywhere, graffiti and junk and trash and paper. And I noticed all kinds of like drums and guitars and flutes and wind instruments. And as I was stacking them in a corner, I saw like a whole band caravan full of people coming in to do drum circles on my land, and it was a lot of land. And I'm like, oh no, this has obviously been going on too long. So I told them they're not allowed to play on my property anymore. And I gave them their musical instruments, and I set up gates, right? Putting a boundaries to clean the land that I just got. So this is probably what's going on in your situation. You probably got a lot going on, a beautiful foundation, nice home, quality of life, able to afford, you're good with money, you're able to afford nice things, but there's a need to set up boundaries in your life maybe, because there is a lot of passion. This goes right along with rest, taking a pause to realize what action comes in, because when there's a lot going on, when you have it all together, you don't see the value. When you don't see the value, you're stuck in lack mentality. The angels are talking to you, trying to ensure that this is a positive thing. But the fear of the past keeps coming back, possibly through outer extensions. Ten of Swords returning is like Facebook reminding you of a memory that you had 5 years ago, and let's say it's always sad news, and you're like, fuck. And so with those returning thoughts coming back, you're not recognizing how good you have it right now. Everything is rolling in your favor. Remember, 10 of Pentacles is on the bottom, still on the bottom, no matter how much I'm shuffling this deck. So the universe is trying to tell you, you've won. There may be some toxic, obsessive binds in your life. The Moon card, hidden enemies. Again, this keeps coming up in readings too. Don't let this pull into your future. To me, a hidden enemy I could give a fuck less about. If they're not in my face, they are not an enemy. Right? But this is showing that there are toxic connections trying to control your life, trying to control your spirit. These are people obsessed with appearances, obsessed with indulgences. They lack self-control, and when they see you trying to control your life in a calm manner, they're coming up. Like I said, these could be hidden enemies. These could be hidden enemies. Could also mean smile in your face, and how they really feel. How they really feel about you is only spoken in private amongst other crowds. So that's for your future. My suggestion with the North Node reading is to take Spirit's advice. Clear your conscience by taking a pause. See through the confusion and logic while getting plenty of rest. Once your mind is quiet and at peace, all of this information will be coming forward to show you the quality of life you had. Once you appreciate your situation in life, it'll be easier to let go of this anxiety, lack mentality, and the return of past wounds and obsessive controlling influences. Trust in your higher power, whether you call that angels or Buddhas or higher self, whatever you call your higher power. Numbers, sign. It's good to think of a higher power, even if you're not one of these persons, right? If you can believe in something beyond the world, and once you do connect to it, I don't have to explain this to you. If you've already connected to it, you already know. For those of you that lack mentality is why I'm saying this. You're like, yeah, I pray, I meditate, I believe in the angels, I believe in higher consciousness, but I just don't get it, right? Well, put your faith in something larger than you, right? This card also represents, it's not always about you. There are things beyond the physical world that most people don't see, so they have no faith in. Have some faith in things all working out. Even if you're just like, let's say you're just a psychiatrist that has no, you don't care about metaphysical, spiritual, other dimensional worlds, right? You're just logic and facts, right? Well, logic and facts. If you repeat the good in your mind over and over and over again, you reboot and retrain your computer to see the good in life, okay? Rather than repeat over and over and over and over again the toxicity in your life, all the things that we have to blame, it's all on the fault of this or that, or everyone is negative, or everything is bad, or that's just a repetitive cycle, or this is gonna tie me down, or don't repeat these things, repeat the good. Everything's always going good. Even when there's fear, I cut through it by rest, meditation, and reevaluating the truth. Pentacles do mean facts too. So once you take a break and you sit back and you look at what's actually there, right? Like this table is actually, not quantum physics actually, like yeah, everything is just light, vibration, and sound creating magnetism, but whatever. It's tangible, right? You can pick it up. You can see that it's in your hand, right? So it works. Repeat those good things. Temperance card. And let the devil card energy get out of your mind. Let's turn this upside down now. This means getting out of that. Let's turn this upside down, meaning get out of lack mentality. And let's turn this right side up. It's over. Boom. Okay, so let's focus on the past. What have you learned over the past 18 months? I'm going to use a different deck for this, so just give me a second. I put cards back from the reading in a specific order as a magical practice for not only me, but for all of you. So, repeat the good. Filter your thoughts for clarity, the good. Wheel of Fortune deck. South Node, just on the split. You may have dealt with a lot of toxic behavior in the past 18 months. You may have felt you had to fight over treasures. See that? They're fighting over a treasure. What they don't realize is the treasure is chained down. So while they're fighting, neither one of them is trying to find a solution of where is the lock so they can open it. One's trying to go through this tunnel, the other's trying to go out this way. You may have put up with a lot of fighting over crumbs, because that's all the devil card offers is breadcrumbs, nothing tangible, nothing real, just obsessive compulsive behavior weighing you down, fighting with others. 5 of Swords, time to walk away from this situation. You don't need to compete, fight, obsess, overindulge, control others, let others control you. Cut your losses and walk away. This is what's been going on in the past 18 months, I can tell already, with your South Node energy. I just saw the Temperance Angel, so there is hope for this. You have learned. It's in reverse, so you're kind of seeing it. Maybe you're seeing other people who focus on the good, and you see how it works for them, and it's kind of breaking through, right? But we need to turn this temperance. Well, you have in the past. We just did the future, so you will be. See? From negative to positive. You're moving into the positive. It's just funny how they repeated themselves in your past deck. So this is a mirror for you. Have you mirrored the past 18 months? Mirror is like, well, fuck it, let's bring it up. Mirror is like a gang stalking tactic, right? So let's say something you put on Facebook, right? And you've got a group of individuals that you don't know, right? And they keep coming up to you, repeating the same phrase that you've said all day, everywhere you go. And you're like, what the fuck is this? Does everybody watch my Facebook? No, it's just a certain group of individuals. This is like mirroring, right? They're mirroring to you something to wake you up, because you mirror to them their insecurities. So probably been putting up with a lot of mirroring. Devil card, Temperance card. Reflections. People call it reflections. Like, you see the hidden pieces of yourself in others, and then you see the good things that you don't see about yourself in others. Like if you ever given a compliment to somebody that's very imbalanced, and they're like, well, that's what you see because that's within you. You're seeing what's within you, which is true. When you feel very good, you start seeing very positive people in your life. All of a sudden, it's just a natural magnetic polarity that the toxic people have to go away. They're done, they're tired, they're exhausted from trying to break you down, right? So once that has been shed from your energy, you magnetize the polarity of positive, healthy, happy, uplifting. How can we support? What do you want to do together? Let's work together on this. And that's what mirroring is called. Look, enlightenment. So in the past, you had to work through hell to get to the light. And that's where you're at today. This deck is so old, it's getting hard to shuffle. Eight of Swords, or Eight of Wands again coming out. Lots of good things coming. Travel, experience, more psychic connections. You probably channel like a motherfucker. And yes, I said motherfucker. So if you're, I had a comment the other day. If you're offended by foul language, then this is not the channel for you. You may have clairvoyancy. You're a goal-driven person. This is what you had to work through. And I don't know what that says because these are getting assertive with your intentions. You're very focused, and that's why things come through for you. It took a lot of pressure to cook this in you. And the final shuffle. There we go. Still on the sun, enlightenment. What have they learned in the past that deepened their spiritual depth, brought them sudden inspirations, Eight of Wands, to realize their true self by exploration of their own soul? This obviously came through very practical, detailed, analytic. This is discipline. Discipline will always bring the light out of you. Non-discipline will keep bringing back that devil energy, that anxiety energy. Discipline doesn't have to be like being commanded by a drill sergeant. Just means a steady routine. It could be very simple, but you stick to it. Stick to it over the next 18 months like you did the past 18 months. And watch how your life becomes all the things you've worked for. Meditation is a discipline. It's a bitch to try to start meditation routine. Because once you try, once you start, everything tries to, it's like, and I don't mean like a personal thing, right? This is nothing personal in the 3D. It's like in The Matrix, the movie The Matrix, right? To start a meditation program is like to wake up out of the battery cell. And then once you go into the Matrix to practice Neo's gifts, right? To become, masterful of his own energy. It's the more he realizes, the more people turn into agents, right? This isn't right. No, what's going on? Another way to look at this to get a deeper understanding is to watch the movie Inception. And once the projections of Leonardo DiCaprio's unconscious realize that there's a new architect in the world, they start attacking it, right? So you just got to understand that these are all just mental things. These are only in your mind that it comes. Like when I first did mushrooms, everybody was telling me all these scary stories, and I'm like, dude, it's all in my mind. It's a hallucinogenic, which means it's in my mind. So if I'm walking through a horror show or a haunted house, it's in my mind. It's not, I'm in control of it. I determine whether I can be afraid of it or whether I walk through it. So understand this, right? Where did this come from? Starting a routine. Meditation is like when I used to start, I'd be like 1 minute, right when you start getting into that drop of the rush mind where your thoughts are like, and you finally, you'd be there for like 2 minutes and the kids would come running, Dad! And you're like, wow, ooh, what? Or you're right into it and a sonic boom goes off. You're like, whoa, right? Or a car boom, next to your home. These are all projections of the universe. You're dreaming this reality. Just like when you dream, it's real, right? You're actually living a life, right? But that's all inside your head. If you can imagine your life and your body inside this head of reality, you can easier understand that as you work into a meditation process, these little inconveniences, you have the control to go, okay, well, that was a nuisance, and go right back into your meditation. Eventually, this becomes easier. As soon as your mind calms, a distraction will come, try to pop a balloon to get you out of that state. Oh, thank you. That was interesting. Are you done? Go right back into meditation. If you can start even a simple meditation routine, you probably have master the reality of your abilities, your tricks. Now, this doesn't come easy. We've just been talking about that. 10 of Wands. As you've been working on your magical tools, however you put that into your consideration, basically creating from spirit into matter, bringing things that are invisible into reality, drawing a painting from just your own mind, right? Not having something to copy and trace off of. This is a pure creation of your own. It was hard because you carried a lot of other people's bullshit. This happens in life. In life, when you're trying to figure your life out and get your shit settled, you get hit with a lot of, I call the 10 of Wands, other people's problems. This puts you in overworked, need of calm and release. Too many others burning you out and exhausting your energy. Other people's problems. That's what I've always called the 10 of Wands. So while you were creating, you were hit with a lot of shit, right? I know over the last 18 months, man, every time I got stable, I was uprooted and have to move. And it was always, it wasn't like I wasn't able to pay my bills. It was always somebody else's bullshit, right? So it takes sticking through it. No matter what hits you, what tries to weigh you down, you stand your ground. And remember, you can throw all the piles of shit on me that you want. I'm strong enough to walk through it. Keep telling yourself that. Remember, negative thoughts to positive. I can endure. All right, you're going to, in the past, you've received a lot of spiritual messages from the divine. You had to become a student of your own mind and started testing realities and taking notes. You were observing. You were in observer mode the past 18 months. There could have been, in the past 18 months, it says detective or spy, which it can represent. This card does represent detective or spy. Gang stalking is kind of the same thing. You were being over observed because they saw that you were willing to carry other people's problems, even though you were trying to manifest a new way of thinking. How you got through this was observing your own mind and testing reality. This is kind of the thing of like, baiting reality, putting a bait out in reality to see if it truly was going to happen, so that you knew, okay, that is a loop program, right? So this comes from recognizing patterns. You were very observant in recognizing patterns and synchronicity. So you would start, okay, this is like the Truman Show, remember? Watch this. In 3 minutes, this, and this will happen. Boom, you saw it. You're like, okay, now that I know this is a loop, I can remove myself from the loop. And during all this, you were very playful in the mind, very youthful. You took things positive, and that's what got you through the burdens. This instilled a very patient strength within you. The Strength card. And it came from only sticking to the facts. What could you tangibly prove? What could you tangibly do? You didn't really attack anything that was burdening you. That's not the way we go about this. You had patience and you calmed it down with gentle, sovereign understanding, right? You don't try to defeat the lion, you try to calm the lion and allow the lion to be your guide, your guardian, right? If you fight the lion, chances are two things are going to happen. You're going to kill a very, very strong and powerful spirit guide, or it's going to kill you, right? So you learn to be patient with things that tested your boundaries, tested your ferocity, right? And this gave you a very sovereign nature. You're the master of your own self, right? So master of your own self means you do not have to master others. You don't have to control others. This is what you learned from all the pressure going on while you were observing. Only coming out with what was tangible. Study, another student of science. As you were seeking unbiased information, very important here, you were investing in small opportunities that paid off in your own research, right? This was to help you begin a new life, plant seeds that will grow, rather than throw seeds in the desert and hope they will grow, right? No, you took your time. Where can I plant this? How will it grow? What kind of food does it need? What kind of sun? How much shade? And you tended to this by only sticking to the facts. Page of Cups. As you were doing this, there was plenty of unconscious moodiness, and there was basically a lot of sounds good but interruptions in your life. These were interruptions that were very, you saw they weren't going to go nowhere. They were a tiny cup, small flirtations, anything to try to distract you from this energy. That's why you kept to the facts, right? Romance and jealousy, sounds good, but unconscious moodiness of others, and in you a poetic or passionate perseverance, playful, and you were able to see that these were just things you can just kind of laugh off, and you weren't tempted to touch, right? You're just like, sounds good, but whatever. Because you did this, there was a lot of conflict, a lot of chaos, competitive spirit surrounding your energy. Every time we try to interrupt this person, they just kind of laugh it off, brush it off their shoulders, and go right back to planting their garden. This is irritating. It created conflict. Many people tried to challenge you. Words with no meaning. If you reject things that you knew weren't healthy for you, of course, it makes nasty words come out of people. But this was all from surface layer argument from people who didn't have much depth to their life, right? This is what you went through in 18 months. This is what South Node is trying to tell you. This is why you've probably been in a little flux as these two were entering the new houses, because you're like, what the hell is going on? Whoa, I'm being told to sit. Well, the good thing about this conflict is you learned a lot of verbal judo, right? So words without meaning were flown at you, and you're like, oh, okay, blah, 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 right? Yeah. And you learned how to just diffuse the challenges with the proper words to say in return. This was actually your guardian angel, spirit guides, higher self, whatever you believe God to be, working through you, and you didn't even know. So channeling is like, you don't really know when you're channeling. It's not something you turn on and off like a light switch. But it is those right words at the right moment that lead to a positive outcome that doesn't diffuse or harm others, but calms every situation and brings clarity, right? That is channeling. Verbal judo. Again, look at this. Devil card. This was not only was it toxic, it was very tempting, right? But you saw the bondage and duality in everything. This competitive spirit over rejecting unhealthy opportunities was tempting, but you saw the toxicity in the situation. This is what you had to work through to get to where you are today, and where you're going we've already talked about. Devil card. This was not easy. Eight of Pentacles. You didn't get paid very much for this, but you didn't care. This was more of a dedication to polishing your mastery, right? You see, do you know it is not easy to carve pentacles in wood, right? Try drawing a star without making a pentacle, without doing the up, down, left, right. Try to simply draw a star. This was an apprenticeship thing at a tattoo parlor a friend of mine was going through. He's like, you would never believe how hard it is to draw a perfect star. It takes time, practice, dedication, pulling yourself out of the temptation, competition. What are these called? Booty calls. Putting in the effort, little by little by little. Working towards a goal that maybe you were the only one who saw. And that's what brought you out of poverty. So in the first deck, in your future, don't bring this into the future with you. You have worked through a lack mentality, a lack mindset, right? You no longer have to feel lack again, because you've been through a lot in 18 months. And this is what has been proven. Where was it? This is what the deep exploration of your soul has shown you. I worked through this crap to become out of the mindset of nothing will ever work out for me. Hidden fears, the Moon card. But with hidden fears, you have to walk into that to bring the light to the darkness, right? Working through this opens your awareness. It's like you see a dark corner in a house with no electricity, and you have a candle, so you can only see what's around you, right? So it's a little scary to go over there in that dark corner, but you brought the light over to that corner and realize there's nothing to be afraid of. Walking into the unknown is what's helping you, what helped you through this past. You put in fine detail, got over lack mentality, and took the initiative to move forward even when you were afraid. Four of Swords again. Rest and recuperate. This was the hard 18 months you've been through. Withdraw to renew yourself. Gather your thoughts. Calm the mind. Realize that the struggle is over. And step into the light. And there is no more truth than that. Ace of Swords. So you see how these readings mirrored each other. That's what North Node, South Node do. They mirror your past and future. Past 18 months. Could be, who knows how long. Whatever. The past 18 months is all that North, South Node is talking about. The next 18 months are going to be very good because you endured all of this. Now, in another 18 months, you're going to have a whole new set of challenges you went through while you were still going through the good. North Node, South Node. It's not like one of them ever disappears. With all new greatnesses comes new challenges. So don't be afraid of moving forward. Know that you have overcome challenges and you are well equipped to do it again. Nothing can really hold you down at this point in life. The past 18 months have showed you the deepest part of yourself, realizing your true inspirations in life, understanding that your life is best described and best worked or lived with practical, detailed, analytic routines, right? sticking things calm, routine, knowing your environment, building a value of what you have worked for. That will help you through the next 18 months. But you've got a lot of growth coming up. Giving offerings of milk is just something like tangible to honor the spiritual intuition, meditational thoughts that you get. Water a plant with milk. Milk is good for plants anyways, right? So as the plant grows, visualize your milk as fertilizing your future. You'll be engaging in more spiritual connections with friends, relationships, and work partners. This is going to be good for your psyche. More spiritual connections doesn't always have to be like religious talks or deep, long philosophical talks. It's really more positive people in your life than people who are constantly complaining, focusing on the negative. Remember, the focusing on the negative is the Devil card energy, which is Nine of Swords energy. Focus on the positive, and you'll be in your divine mind or in union with your surroundings, right? The paradox. When you see good, good is around you. When you allow negative to infiltrate your mind, it starts popping up everywhere. Watch Inception. What other movie were we talking about besides Inception? I don't know. But understand that projections in your reality are based off of your fear and the infiltration. I call it infiltration because you weren't born with these thoughts, right? All the way up as a child, you did not carry these thoughts. They were implanted in you by others complaining, always showing you the negative when there is positive all around you. This book may help you, The Four Agreements. It helps you let go of the programming. You did not agree to be brought into a world that is constantly tearing you down. You agreed to be brought into a world to live a prosperous, abundant, healthy, happy life. So that's what I have for you based off of North Node and South Node and your next 18 months and your past 18 months. Thank you for your time here today. Usually I don't like to go this long into videos, but it was, I feel, a pretty resonant video. So stay tuned for future videos to come, and thank you for your time and attention. Take care.